Welcome to the Canadian Business Quarterly podcast, where we speak with Canada's most influential industry leaders on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all of our content, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.
Kristin Butler is the CEO and co-founder of Evas Original Chimneys, a popular and quickly expanding Hungarian bakery and ice cream concept with a focus on vegan offerings. Kristin started her career in social work and then moved to being a talent manager in the TV and film industry. In 2014, she sold her home and everything she owned to travel the world with her then and now husband. And on this trip, they were visiting family in Hungary, where the concept of Evas was born. Kristin demonstrates the perfect balance of people and process and brings empathy, leadership, and creativity to the Evas culture. Kristin, thanks for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So, tell us the story.
It was back in 2015 when my husband and I we were on our year-long backpacking trip around the world, and we were coming to an end, and we were visiting his family in Hungary, and they took us along the Váci, which is a street market in Budapest, and we tried these chimney cakes, which they are called Kürtőskalács, and honestly, it was love at first bite. We had been trying, obviously, food all around the world for the previous 11 months, and nothing took our heart like these chimney cakes. Like, we just kind of became obsessed with them. And the next day, his family asked us, what do you guys want to do today? We're like, we want to go eat chimney cakes. And so for 3 or 4 days in a row, we went to go eat chimney cakes every day. And as we moved on for Budapest and we were on the train ride to our next country, we couldn't stop thinking about them. And then we thought, well, we're returning back home in April. Maybe we'll just look at seeing if we can learn how to make these chimney cakes and sell them back home and just do that for fun in the summertime before we, go back to real world living in the fall. So we decided that when we got off the train, we would look on the internet and find out if there's a way that we can learn how to make them. And that's the first thing that we did. And then we ended up spending the remaining month of our trip just focusing on creating this business. So we flew to Slovenia, we learned how to make them, we purchased the equipment, shipped it home, came home in April of 2015. We purchased a food truck the next day, sat down with the lawyer, incorporated our company, and within 8 weeks, we were operating at our first festival.
Wow. Okay. Did you have any prior entrepreneurial background that made you want to start your own business?
Well, I do come from a family of entrepreneurs, and so does my husband, Justin. So, perhaps it was bound to happen. My mom owns her own business. My sister runs and owns her own business. Justin's parents own and operate their own catering and banquet hall for 30 years. And Justin actually owned his own construction company prior to us traveling. So he was already an entrepreneur, always has been since he left high school. And so I think it was kind of a natural development that was bound to happen.
What do you think makes the product unique that's allowed you to find an audience for it, in Canada?
Well, first things first, we recognize that it was a unique product that we had never had before. Even when we saw it, we didn't even understand what it was, because it's cylindrical in shape from top to bottom, completely hollow in the middle, and when it's freshly baked. So when it comes, it's a pastry, and when it comes off the grill, if you can imagine, you take the wooden dowel out that the dough was wrapped around, and it kind of steams and smokes out of the top, hence the name chimney. But when we were first looking at it, we were just mesmerized by the actual baking process and how it looks. And we're like, there is nothing like this in Canada. So I think that was part of the appeal for sure. And then as we got, running our business here, in 2016, we actually decided to expand the chimney cake offering and change the shape into a conical shape and put a chocolate in the bottom and fill it with soft serve ice cream and all these toppings and sauces. And that's really what we're widely known for now is the chimney cone. And that, people just kind of went crazy for that because they're like, wow, it's like a donut cone. There's like ice cream inside of a donut. But then the extra appeal is, number one, it's unique and it's beautiful and it's Instagrammable and all those things but the taste is actually amazing. And then the ingredients that we use, like I'm personally very, very passionate about health. So that was very important to me to kind of, how can I put this into a dessert business? So we use organic cane sugar and unbleached flour, no, no chemicals or any artificial ingredients. All of our sauces are house made. There's absolutely no syrups, no fake sugars, nothing like that. And then it's baked and not deep fried. So there's that component of it that was like, you can have this dessert that you can feel good about, that goes into your body and doesn't make you feel sick after. And then on top of that, I also felt, and I still do feel very passionately about the vegan community. So we have a beautiful vegan soft serve ice cream. And when we made the dough recipe, it's vegan by default. So we use sunflower oil instead of butter. There's absolutely no milk. There's no eggs. So the dough is by default vegan. And then we also have the vegan ice cream offering, and we always make sure we have vegan sauces and toppings. So for the vegan community that's out there, or even people who are just lactose intolerant, which is like a large portion of the ice cream lovers that are out there, they can have this like beautiful decadent dessert that they can actually eat. So I mean, I think that's huge for our Torontonians for sure. And I would imagine if other people in Canada had the chance to have it, they would appreciate that too.
It's a good lead into my next question. I've been told that you guys are receiving quite a lot of franchise requests by year. What's your plan for franchising and expanding the business?
Yeah. So, I mean, when we launched those chimney cones, it became super popular across the internet with, millions and millions of views of these videos that, Blog.to and stuff had made of our chimney cones. So I think that had this widespread reach across the globe. And then all of a sudden we just started having all these franchise requests coming in literally from, all the way from Saudi Arabia to Florida to
Wow.
Vancouver. So just like widespread from South Africa. And that was, just kind of constantly coming in. And we, as much as there's a desire to satisfy that request, I mean, we really were not apprehensive, but just we've been slow in our process to fulfill those requests, because we really want to make sure that, I mean, for us, it's not about just like, yeah, sure, here you go, and making that exchange and then making money, being a franchisor. Like, that's just not what we're interested in. If there's somebody that's going to franchise our business and become a franchisee, for me, more than anything, it's important that they're going to succeed. So we've really taken our time to kind of build the business, understand our business, know where it works well, like know what environment, what location is good, what neighborhood, because we've also operated in many, we have with many different styles of locations, because we have food trucks, we have locations inside malls, we have street front locations, kiosks. So for us, it's like, we really need to look at what is the actual best model for the business, and then stress test it under multiple different scenarios so that I can ensure that when this person is coming to become a franchisee, I'm handing them over something that I trust that they're going to be able to do well with, and actually it's going to provide value for their life. So that's why we haven't fulfilled those requests just yet. And now, thankfully, through COVID, we're getting the opportunity to do that even more. So, and we're actually at a place now, even more so before, where we're becoming quite ready, because we've been able to survive this, which is probably one of the worst things that most businesses have had to try to survive. But we've been able to do that, and there's only signs of growth, and so now we're feeling a lot more confident about what we're putting together for these franchisees.
I always find this question a minefield, because when you ask an entrepreneur this, I think people realize that they wear so many different hats when you are a startup. So
Yeah.
what are the most important lessons that you've learned now doing this for about 5 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, you hit the nail on the head for sure, right? I mean, first and foremost, it's to understand that you're going to wear many hats. Like, there's absolutely no job that I do not do. And that being said, I think it's really important, like the character or feeling that comes with that, that's really important, is that there's nothing that's above me or below me, in the sense that that I will absolutely clean the floors and empty the garbages and clean out the garbage bins and scrub behind the toilets. And I will also do the payroll, and I will also solve a technology issue. And I will also look for marketing ideas and, how to rebrand or things like that. So, and so it's kind of understanding that, that my responsibility is to be able to operate in every role, not every day, but at any time that's needed. and be comfortable and willing, because the thing is that no matter which area of the business it comes to, when I'm operating those different roles, in my opinion, they are all just as important as the rest. Like each component is equally as important. My favorite role is probably being a cashier. I absolutely love being a cashier. Like that is just the best, because I get that opportunity to really experience the customer and provide them that service that I want our business to provide them. But so that's kind of like first and foremost, I would say. But and then I would say, probably stress management is key. Like in terms of lessons that I've learned running the business, is just stress management. And I think how I could explain that is, or best explain that is, when I started to understand that a big part of my role is to solve problems, or at least direct the solution, look for a solution, find a solution, know that the only option is a solution. And that a big part of my job is to understand the challenges and then find the solution. That actually helps so much, because then when a problem occurs or something breaks or something goes wrong, it's not like, oh my gosh, this terrible thing is happening. It's like, yep, okay, well, this is what we do. Let's figure it out, right? And then it's not I don't have that stressful feeling behind it. Like this shouldn't be happening. I know that it should be happening. There's going to be problems every day. And then with that, also looking at any problem or challenge that comes up as an opportunity to learn more about the business. Because if everything goes well, it's very difficult to learn. So just seeing those as learning opportunities and a chance to make the business better. And then I find that helps with stress management quite a bit.
Okay. Look, we're towards the end of our chat today. Is there anything else that you might like to, make mention of before we finish up?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's probably, I would say, one thing that I share with my team and that I think is really important is that, like we don't just serve ice cream, right? We're not just an ice cream shop. I think and I think this can be possibly beneficial to anybody who's running a business, is that sometimes we can get caught up in the details of what we do, but I really like to look at it more like, we have this opportunity to connect with people when they come into our store, and really provide them an experience for those few minutes that can really positively impact their life. So yes, we provide this great ice cream and it tastes good and it's beautiful, but I mean, if you don't connect with that person that's coming in, that's really all it is, right? So I just like to, in all of our team meetings, I always talk about the fact that when somebody comes into our business, we never know what kind of day they're having, why they're there, what's going on for them in their life. And if we can just treat them, like truly try to connect with them and just treat them with love and care and just try to give them the best experience possible, that's really all I care about. Honestly and truly, that is what I care about. I want them to leave the store just feeling like a little bit better than they did when they walked in. And the tactic or the strategy that I use to try to help my team kind of tap into that, because I feel that, and that's why I say the cashier is my favorite position, but I got to think like, how can I help our cashiers feel that, right? Because they may not feel that. So I just, say when that person walks in, like imagine that it's your best friend that you haven't seen in a long time, or it's like, it's your cousin or your mom or your dad or somebody that you just love so much. And when they come into the store, it's their very first time there. They know absolutely nothing. And you're so excited to see them and serve them and just give them the best experience possible. Every single person who walks in, we have the chance to do that with, and imagine how you impact their life when they leave. It's not about the ice cream. So yeah, that's kind of my viewpoint and what really, really drives me in running this business.
Excellent. Well, Kristin, thanks very, very much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great opportunity, and I truly appreciate it.
Cheers.
This has been a production of the Canadian Business Quarterly, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Canadian Business Quarterly, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.